Welcome back to Z Coins today. This video, you'll understand why some examples of the 1967 Washington quarter are worth far more than their face value and how a single ordinary-looking piece of pocket change can surprise even experienced collectors. To begin this journey, imagine yourself walking into any average American store in the late 1960s. Life had a particular rhythm back then. Streamlined automobiles cruised the streets, rotary phones buzzed in homes, televisions flickered with black and white news reports, and Americans were exploring new frontiers in technology and space. The average person did not think twice about the coins they handled daily. A quarter was a quarter, a tool to buy groceries, fuel, and movie tickets. But underneath the surface of everyday commerce, the U.S. Mint was facing a crisis that would reshape the nation's coinage forever. The early 1960s brought on what numismatists now refer to as the Great Coin Shortage. Silver prices were rising rapidly, and citizens began hoarding their silver coins, especially dimes, quarters, and half-dollars minted before 1965. Because these coins contained 90% silver, they became more valuable as metal than their face value. People simply would not spend them. The shortage forced the government to seek immediate solutions. The most dramatic change came with the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver entirely from circulating dimes and quarters. From that year forward, these coins were produced using a copper-nickel-clad composition, which remains in use today. However, the change brought another unusual consequence. To prevent further hoarding and speculation, the government temporarily removed mint marks from coins. Without mint marks, collectors couldn't target specific mints, making it nearly impossible to cherry-pick coins for rarity. So when we talk about a 1967 Washington quarter, we're referring to a coin deliberately produced without any mint mark, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, and no P for Philadelphia. Every 1967 quarter was struck as though it originated from a single source, even though millions were made. This lack of a mint mark often confuses beginners. Many assume their coin is missing something valuable, but in reality, it was the standard design for that period. The plan to remove mint marks was temporary. Mint marks returned in 1968. But today, this brief window in coinage history makes the 1967 quarter an interesting piece to study. Now, even though the 1967 Washington quarter contains no silver and has no mint mark, collectors still seek out certain examples, particularly those exhibiting exceptional condition or unusual striking qualities. While most 1967 quarters you find in circulation today are heavily worn and worth only face value, a small number of coins can be worth significantly more when sent to a professional grading service and preserved in a certified holder. These coins represent the finest surviving examples of mass-produced currency. Let's take a closer look at what sets these premium coins apart. First, we need to understand strike quality. Not every coin leaves the mint with the same level of sharpness. Some strikes are shallow or uneven, with George Washington's hair details weak and the eagle's feathers soft or incomplete. But a small percentage of 1967 quarters were struck with extraordinary precision. These coins display crisp details, mirrored surfaces, and strong relief. When a coin has an exceptional strike, collectors call it a high-grade specimen, and it earns a higher price tag. Another category of premium coins is known as special mint set, SMS coins. Instead of producing proof sets in 1967, the Mint produced SMS coins for collectors. These sets included 5 coins packaged especially for numismatic customers. The coins were not proof coins, but they were struck with better-than-normal methods, often using satin or brilliant finishes. Some SMS quarters exhibit special cameo contrast, where the raised design appears frosted against a reflective background. These cameo examples, especially those labeled Deep Cameo, can bring impressive prices at auction. There is also the category of errors and varieties, which always sparks excitement among collectors. Because the mint was rushing production during the coin shortage years, mistakes were more likely to slip through unnoticed. These errors can include off-center strikes, doubled dies, clipped planchets, and die cracks. While not all errors bring high value, dramatic ones can command impressive prices. But among all the ways a 1967 Washington quarter can become valuable, condition remains the most critical factor. A quarter that has been in circulation for decades is usually scratched, worn, and dull. However, a high-grade coin stored safely from the moment it was minted can look almost new today. These top-tier examples are the ones that grading companies like PCGS or NGC evaluate using the Sheldon scale. A typical worn quarter might receive a grade of VG, very good, or F, fine, while a high-end example might receive MS66, MS67, or even MS68. Here's where things get exciting. While most 1967 quarters are worth only a few dollars in uncirculated condition, the rarest high-grade examples, especially those that score near-perfect grades, can soar in value. These coins become the prized possessions of advanced collectors who want the best of the best. Imagine holding a coin that survived half a century without losing its brilliance. Imagine the perfectly preserved luster, the sharp details, the flawless fields. These are the kinds of coins that turn an everyday quarter into a showpiece. And yes, some of these exceptional surviving specimens have sold for surprising amounts at professional auctions. So what makes these high prices possible? It all comes down to rarity. Even though millions of 1967 quarters were minted, only a microscopic percentage remain in pristine condition today. Think of how many coins pass through laundromats, cash registers, vending machines, gas stations, and pockets over the decades. Finding a perfect example is like finding untouched treasure. Collectors know this, and they compete fiercely for top-graded specimens. Add in the historical context, one of the most unusual eras in U.S. coinage, and the appeal becomes even stronger. Now let's talk about you and what you should look for if you have a 1967 Washington quarter at home. The first step is to examine the coin's condition under good lighting. Look at Washington's hair details. Are the strands crisp and defined? Check the eagle on the reverse side. Are the feathers sharp? Inspect the edges, the rims, and the fields for scratches or marks. If the coin looks unusually clean and lustrous, it may be worth setting aside for a closer evaluation. But even if you don't find a high-grade example, owning a 1967 quarter is still owning a piece of American history. It reflects a moment when the mint responded dramatically to national economic pressures. It also represents the end of an era when the public still carried silver coins in their pockets and the beginning of the modern clad coinage that we use today. Whether you're a beginner just learning about coin collecting or an experienced numismatist, the 1967 quarter is a great reminder that history is all around us, even in loose change. And who knows? With enough curiosity, patience, and luck, you might stumble upon one of those rare premium examples hiding quietly in a drawer or jar of old coins. The world of coin collecting thrives on discovery. Every time someone takes a closer look at a seemingly ordinary coin, the possibility of uncovering something extraordinary is always there. And as auctions continue to reveal surprising results year after year, the story of the 1967 quarter remains alive and exciting. We're diving deep into the fascinating world of coin collecting, and we're focusing on one particular piece, the 1980p mint mark Washington quarter dollar. It looks simple at first glance, maybe even ordinary, but as we'll discover, there is nothing ordinary about the stories, rarity factors, production quirks, collector demand, and unexpected value that this coin can carry. Let's set the stage. The year is 1980. The United States is experiencing a time of economic transition, cultural shifts, technological advancements, and political tension. While much of the world was rapidly changing, computers becoming more common, music evolving into new eras, and global tensions shaping policy, the U.S. Mint was quietly producing billions of coins needed for daily commerce. Among them, the Washington quarter. The quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 5 decades, originally introduced in 1932 as a commemorative coin celebrating George Washington's 200th birthday. Because of its popularity and useful denomination, it never stopped production. Fast forward to 1980, and something interesting happens. The Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark for many of its earlier coins, began stamping the letter P onto its quarters starting in 1980. That means the 1980 Washington quarter with AP represents an important shift in minting history. It's the first year this particular mint mark appeared on a standard circulation U.S. quarter. This alone makes collectors pay attention, because first-year changes often generate long-term interest. The coin itself is composed of a clad mixture, outer layers of copper-nickel bonded to a pure copper core. It has a reeded edge, a weight of 5.67 grams, and a diameter of 24.3 millimeters. On the obverse, George Washington faces left, his portrait sculpted by John Flanagan. The motto "I in God We Trust" sits to his left, while Liberty arcs above him, and the date 1980 rests below his neckline. Just above the date is the small yet significant P mint mark, the symbol of the Philadelphia Mint. Flip the coin over and you'll find the heraldic eagle on the reverse, clutching arrows with its talons, wings spread wide, flanked by olive branches beneath. United States of America curves around the top, while the denomination $quarter is written boldly across the lower half. It's a classic design that many grew up with, even if they never realized its artistic background or potential value. Now, here's where things get interesting. You might assume that because the U.S. Mint struck well over 600 million of these coins in 1980, they must be extremely common. And that's true for circulated, everyday pieces. But collectors pay attention to detail. They care about preservation, quality, rarity of condition, and small production errors that slip through the minting machinery. And with the 1980 P quarter, these details can turn a simple coin into a valuable collectible. Let's talk condition first. The grading scale used by collectors ranges from poor, a heavily worn, nearly unrecognizable coin, to mint state, a pristine, untouched piece with full luster. A typical 1980 P quarter found in circulation today will likely exhibit scratches, wear on Washington's hair, fading on the eagle's feathers, and loss of shine. These coins are worth their face value, 25 cents. But find a coin that has never been used, never rubbed against another coin, with no scratches or marks, and the story changes dramatically. High-grade uncirculated examples, particularly those graded MS66, MS67, or even MS68 by professional grading services, can sell for far more. Why? Because out of hundreds of millions produced, only a tiny fraction survive in perfect or near-perfect condition. Most coins went straight into circulation. Only a few were saved intentionally by collectors, and even fewer were preserved with exceptional care. Beyond condition, collectors also chase mint errors, coin anomalies created during production. These errors can include off-center strikes, missing letters, doubled dies, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong type of metal. For the 1980 P quarter, double die errors are especially sought after. A double die occurs when the die that stamps the coin is engraved incorrectly, causing duplicate or shadow-like impressions on the design. On 1980 P quarters, doubling may appear on the date, the word Liberty, or I in God We Trust. Even slight doubling can make a coin far more valuable, especially if the coin is in excellent condition. Another error type collectors enjoy is the off-center strike. These coins were not properly aligned in the minting press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. The more dramatic the off-center effect, while still keeping the date visible, the higher the value goes. Then there's the die crack, where visible raised lines appear due to the die breaking down. These unusual variations turn ordinary coins into prized pieces because they represent accidental one-of-a-kind moments in minting history. Now, let's pull back and get a deeper appreciation for why this quarter matters beyond errors and grades. The year 1980 itself is historic in the overall coin collecting world. It marks a pivot point in America's coin-making era. The Eisenhower dollar was ending production. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was struggling in circulation and public acceptance. The penny began facing debates over production costs and copper content. Meanwhile, the quarter remained steady and widely used, becoming the backbone of American currency for vending machines, parking meters, arcades, and daily transactions. These social and economic changes around 1980 give context to why collectors find this coin fascinating. It's not simply a quarter, it's a time capsule of American life. The newly added P mint mark symbolizes a modernization of U.S. minting practices. The massive production numbers reflect America's growing economic activity. And the design, unchanged since 1932, illustrates the enduring symbolism of Washington's legacy. With that said, many viewers ask the same question: is my 1980p quarter worth a lot of money? The answer depends on three main factors: condition, rarity of any error, and collector demand at the moment you want to sell. Most circulated 1980p quarters are worth their face value. But a high-grade example, especially one evaluated by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, could be worth significantly more. Add a dramatic mint error, and the value climbs even higher. We are diving into the fascinating world of the 1987p mint mark Washington quarter dollar, a coin many people toss in jars, glove compartments, and couch cushions, never realizing the hidden value and historical significance behind it. Now, most people look at a quarter and think of vending machines, parking meters, or a quick way to make change. But collectors, historians, and coin enthusiasts know that every date and every mint mark tells a story about the United States, its economy, its culture, and the evolving art of coin production. The 1987p Washington quarter is no exception, and by the time we finish exploring its origins, features, mintage details, market value, rarity factors, and collector demand, you'll never look at an ordinary pocket coin the same way again. Let's rewind to the year 1987. It was a time of shifting economics, rising technology, and strong national identity. The United States Mint was churning out coins daily, but unlike certain earlier or later years, 1987 didn't give birth to flashy commemoratives or unusual silver issues. Instead, it produced a steady stream of circulating coins meant for everyday Americans. Among these was the Washington quarter, a coin first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design had already been circulating for more than 5 decades by 1987, but its significance had not faded. The obverse side, what many call the heads side, features the iconic bust of George Washington designed by John Flanagan. It shows Washington facing left, his hair tied in a colonial-style queue, the word liberty stretched boldly above him, and the motto "I in God we trust" placed neatly to the left side. Just under Washington's neck rests the date, 1987, marking the coin's place in American numismatic history. Flip the coin to the reverse side, and you're met with a proud and powerful eagle, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows symbolizing national strength. Below that sits an olive branch, representing America's desire for peace. Around the top curve you'll see United States of America, and below that the denomination quarter dollar. It's the same classic design that millions of Americans carried in pockets, wallets, and drawers for decades. But what sets the 1987p mint mark quarter apart? The answer begins at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins struck in Philadelphia bear the letter P, and in 1987, the mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters. That means the coin is not rare in general circulation, at least not in worn, everyday condition. But condition is everything in coin collecting. A quarter that has survived decades without scratches, dings, discoloration, or wear becomes something entirely different in the eyes of collectors. If you find a 1987p quarter in pristine, nearly untouched condition, what collectors call mint state or MS, it becomes instantly more desirable. The difference between a coin's value in worn condition and its value in high mint condition can be dramatic. A circulated 1987p Washington quarter will typically still be worth face value, 25 cents. But a beautifully preserved, high-grade version certified by a professional grading service can be worth much more. Collectors look for sharp details in Washington's hair, a clean and crisp eagle design on the reverse, no distracting scratches, and strong luster. When a coin has survived with those qualities intact, it becomes scarce compared to the millions of worn examples floating around in everyday change. The laws of supply and demand take over, supply drops, value rises. The Philadelphia Mint produced a large number of these quarters, but the survival rate in top condition is much lower than many people assume. Why? Because quarters are workhorse coins. They travel from person to person, machine to machine, pocket to pocket. They get scraped against keys, tossed in drawers, and rubbed across hard surfaces thousands of times. Most never stand a chance of remaining in mint condition. That's what makes a high-grade 1987 P quarter special. Another important factor influencing the value of these coins is the concept of strike quality. Not all quarters struck in 1987 were created equal. Some had slightly softer designs due to worn dies or high-speed production demands. Others received exceptionally sharp strikes, bringing out tiny design details in Washington's hair strands and the eagle's feathers. Collectors always pay more for strong, sharp strikes. Then there is the matter of coin grading. A coin graded MS-60 might be uncirculated but still have noticeable marks. Step up to MS-65 or MS-66, and you begin to see the coin's true potential: brilliant luster, minimal marks, and bold design definition. The highest grades, MS-67 or MS-68, are extremely rare for coins intended for mass circulation. If you find one, you're holding a high-end collectible. But even within the realm of modern pocket change, there is always the potential for unnoticed treasures. Imagine picking up a random quarter from your change after buying a coffee, only to learn that it's worth far more than 25 cents simply because of its condition. That sense of discovery is what draws so many people into the world of coin collecting. It is exciting, unpredictable, historical, and rewarding all at once. The 1987 P quarter may not contain silver or gold, but its value lies in its story and in the possibility of exceptional specimens surviving against the odds. It represents a specific moment in the United States Mint's long history and a chapter in the journey of the Washington Quarter series. It is a reminder that even ordinary coins can hold extraordinary worth when viewed through the right lens. Today, we're going deep into the story, history, and value of the 1993 P Washington Quarter Dollar. We'll explore what makes this coin special, what errors and varieties exist, why collectors are suddenly hunting for high-grade versions of it, and how you can identify whether you're holding just a circulated coin or a piece of hidden treasure. So let's dive into the world of coins where small details mean big money, and where even the most ordinary-looking change can turn into a surprising payday. Let's start with the background. The Washington Quarter has been part of American life since 1932, created originally to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The design featuring Washington's profile on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse remained unchanged for decades until the introduction of the State Quarter series in 1999. That means the coin we're discussing today, the 1993 P quarter, belongs to the final years of the classic eagle-back design, giving it a nostalgic charm for collectors who appreciate the traditional look of American currency. Now, the 1993 P quarter was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. And here's something interesting: the Philadelphia Mint produced over 600 million of these coins that year. That sounds like a huge number, doesn't it? And yes, it is, massive circulation. With numbers like that, you might wonder how such a common coin could hold value in the collector market. The answer lies in grade and condition. Most of the 1993 P quarters were used in everyday transactions. They passed through countless pockets, purses, machines, registers, and banks. Over time, they were scratched, worn down, dented, and beaten up, just like any other coin that lives its life in circulation. As a result, high-grade, perfectly preserved examples are extremely rare today. Coin collectors, or numismatists, value something called mint state condition, coins that show no signs of wear and maintain their original sharpness, shine, and detail. For the 1993 P quarter, these mint state gems are surprisingly hard to find. And because collectors love perfect examples, the demand for high-grade pieces has increased significantly over the years. In fact, it's the rarity of these top-quality examples that drives the coin's value sky-high at auctions or in collector markets. But what exactly should you look for? First, pay attention to the surface. A highly valuable 1993 P quarter will have no scratches, no wear on Washington's cheek or hair, no dullness, and no discoloration. The luster should shine across the surface with a cartwheel effect when you tilt the coin under light. Next, focus on the details. Washington's eye, his hair strands, and the lettering should all be crisp and sharp. On the reverse, the feathers of the eagle should be clear, not flattened or worn down. Another thing that collectors look for is strike quality. A weakly struck coin will show soft details, but a sharply struck coin, one where every detail is well defined, can command a premium. Now let's talk about what makes some of these coins even more special: errors and varieties. Error coins are mistakes that occur during the minting process. And these mistakes, instead of being discarded, sometimes find their way into circulation. Collectors love errors because they are unusual and often rare. The 1993 P quarter has several known errors that add to its potential value. One type is the off-center strike, where the design appears shifted because the coin was not properly aligned during the minting process. Another is the die crack, a raised line on the coin caused by a damaged die. There are even examples of double die errors, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment during striking. Each of these errors can significantly increase the value of the coin depending on severity and visual appeal. Now, let's shift to why this coin has gained momentum in recent years. Collectors have increasingly turned their attention to modern coins from the late 20th century. Many thought these coins would always be common and worthless, but discoveries in the collector community have shown that high grades of certain years, including 1993, are much rarer than previously believed. And whenever rarity meets demand, value skyrockets. Another factor fueling interest is certification from professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC. These companies examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. For the 1993 P Washington quarter, grades of MS66 or MS67 are considered extremely high and quite rare. When a coin receives one of these superior grades, it becomes a collector's prize, and its value increases dramatically. Let's explore how this plays out in real life. A regular circulated 1993 P Washington quarter is worth only its face value of 25 cents. But a high-grade example, certified and preserved, can sell for dramatically more. Collectors searching for top-quality coins often compete at auctions, driving prices higher and higher. And while not every coin will earn a premium, those rare gems with exceptional detail can be truly valuable. So how can you tell whether you might have one of these valuable coins hiding in your collection, your drawer, your jars, or even your spare change? Start by taking a closer look at the coin under good lighting. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe if you have one. Examine the details closely, especially the high points on Washington's face and hair. Look for scratches, dings, dents, and wear. Any of these can reduce the grade and value. Then flip the coin and inspect the eagle. Look closely at the feathers on the wings and legs. Are they sharp and defined? Also check the lettering for clarity and strength. If the coin appears nearly perfect and has strong luster, it could be worth submitting to a grading service. But be cautious, grading can cost money, and not every coin is worth grading. Only coins that seem in exceptional near-perfect condition should be considered. Now let's explore something many viewers ask. Why would a modern quarter ever be worth significant money? The answer lies in scarcity at the top of the condition scale. While millions were minted, only a tiny fraction survived without wear. Most coins go through years of handling. Only a few end up saved right from the mint and stored carefully enough to remain pristine. As these high-quality survivors become increasingly scarce with time, their value grows. Collectors also understand that the Washington Quarter series, especially the eagle-back design, has a strong place in American history. The design lasted for decades, making it part of generations of American life. The 1993 version represents the last era before the major change to the state quarters program. That historical transition alone makes late series coins appealing. Now, let's imagine for a moment the journey of one of these rare, high-value 1993 P quarters. Think about the minting process, the preparation of metal blanks, the high-pressure striking machines, the workers monitoring quality, and the moments when a few perfectly struck coins emerge and end up set aside or accidentally preserved. Maybe a collector saved it unknowingly in a roll. Maybe it ended up in a bank vault. Maybe someone put it aside simply because it looked shiny and forgot about it. Whatever the reason, These few coins survived the rough journeys that most coins endure, and today, those survivors are being discovered. Coin dealers are reporting increased interest in mid-state modern coins. Auction records show certain years commanding strong prices. And collectors continue searching, digging through boxes, jars, rolls, and old coin collections in hopes of finding one of these appreciating treasures. So now you might be wondering, what is the highest price a superb, ultra-high-grade 1993 Washington quarter can fetch?